If you have a small craft channel on YouTube, you might have seen the recent announcement that YouTube is increasing the watch time requirement. And if you're anything like me, you might have looked at your watch hours and thought that's quite a lot of hours. I'm currently about halfway, so I've still got quite a way to go. But rather than making this video about how YouTube is changing the rules, I wanted to talk about something I think is much more useful. How can small craft channels actually increase their watch time? Because whether you make baskets, crochet, knit, sew, paint, make jewellery, work with clay, woodwork, embroider, make miniatures or any other kind of craft, there are some things we can do that don't involve trying to go viral. And I'm going to share the things I'm concentrating on myself as I try to increase my own watch time. The first one is to stop concentrating only on views. I think one of the biggest mistakes we can make as small creators is obsessing with overviews. Obviously, we want people to watch our videos, but watch time isn't just about getting more people to click, it's also about how long they stay. For example, imagine you have two videos, one gets 1,000 views, but people watch an average of 2 minutes. Another gets 1,000 views, but people watch an average of 8 minutes. Those two videos have the same number of views, but the second one has generated 4 times as much watch time. So when you're looking at your YouTube studio, don't just look at how many people clicked, look at average view duration and audience retention too. Where are people leaving? Are they leaving in the first 30 seconds? Are they watching most of the video? Are there particular sections where people suddenly drop off? That information can tell you a lot about what your viewers actually want. The second one is don't make your videos longer just for the sake of watch time. Now, this one is really important. When you hear that you need more watch hours, it's very tempting to think, okay, I need to make 30-minute videos, for example, but that's not necessarily the answer. If something can genuinely be explained in 5 minutes, make it 5 minutes. Don't spend another 25 minutes talking about something that could have been explained in 5. But equally, if you're making something that naturally takes 20 minutes to explain, don't try to squash it into 5 minutes just because you think people have short attention spans. And I think craft channels are actually in quite a good position here, because our processes are naturally interesting. If you're making a jumper, for example, there are lots of stages: choosing the yarn, preparing your pattern, starting the first section, working through the difficult bits, then finally seeing the finished jumper. If you're making a piece of pottery, there's preparing the clay, throwing or shaping it, trimming it, glazing it, and finally seeing it come out of the kiln. If you're making jewellery, there's the materials, the designing the piece, then putting it together and finishing it. And if you're sewing, there's choosing the fabric, cutting it, assembling the pieces, and finally trying on the finished garment. There's already a story there, so rather than artificially making a video longer, let people actually see the process. The third one is to show the finished project early. This is something I'm becoming much more conscious of. If you've spent hours making something beautiful, show people what they're going to get. Don't make them wait 5 minutes to find out. Imagine you've made a beautiful handmade dress, for example. Instead of starting with, "Hello, welcome back to my channel, today I'm going to show you," etc., you could start with a shot of you wearing the finished dress. Then say, "I made this myself, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it." Immediately the viewer knows what they're going to see. If you're making a painting, show the finished painting. If you're making a crochet blanket or a basket, show the finished item. And then take people back to the beginning. Now they have a reason to keep watching. You can even introduce a little uncertainty. For example, "I've never tried this technique before, so I genuinely don't know whether it's going to work." Now you've created a question: is it going to work? And people naturally want to find out. The fourth one is think about the first 30 seconds. This leads nicely on to the next point. The first 30 seconds of your video are incredibly important. And I think craft creators can sometimes spend too long introducing themselves. We want to be friendly, we want to explain what we're doing, but the viewer has clicked because they want to see the craft. So give them the craft, show them the finished object, show them the materials, show them something interesting that's going to happen. If you're making a quilt, show the finished quilt. If you're painting, show the finished painting. If you're carving something from wood, show what you're trying to create. Then you can introduce yourself. You don't necessarily need to say hello, welcome back before anything has actually happened. Get straight into the thing that made them click, and then look at your attention graph afterwards. If you've got a massive drop in the first 30 seconds, that's really useful information. It doesn't necessarily mean the whole video was bad. It might simply mean the introduction was too long. Number 5, create a reason to watch until the end. I think this is particularly powerful for craft channels. We have something built into our videos that lots of other channels don't have. We make things. So there's naturally a beginning, middle and end. Use that. Instead of just saying, today I'm going to show you how to make a bag, think about creating a little journey. Maybe you're making a dress and you've never used that particular fabric before. You could say, I've never worked with this fabric before, so I'm going to see if I can actually make this pattern work with it. Now the viewer wants to see the finished dress, or maybe you're trying a new crochet technique. I've never tried this stitch before, so let's see if I can actually work it out. Or you're making pottery. I've got an idea for this piece, but I'm not sure whether the shape is going to survive the firing process. And it's the same for me with my basketry. Experimenting with new fibres, new plants, new techniques, and actually seeing if it's going to work. You've created a question here, and you're not manipulating people, you're simply making the natural outcome of your project part of the story. Number 6, turn one project into a series. This is something I think small craft channels can make really good use of, and I have taken steps to incorporate this into my own channel. If you're making a complicated project, you don't necessarily have to cram everything into one video. You could turn it into a journey. For example, if you're making a quilt, choosing the fabric, then cutting all the pieces, then piecing the quilt together, then quilting it, and finally finishing the quilt. Or if you're making a piece of furniture, choosing the wood, preparing the pieces, building it, sanding and finishing it, the finished piece. And the same applies to pottery, painting, basketry. Now you've got several videos that are connected, and someone who watches the first one might want to watch the second. Someone who finds the third might want to go back and watch the beginning. You can help this along with playlists, cards and end screens. And don't be afraid to actually tell people where to go next. Number 7. Don't finish your video with thanks for watching, bye. This is another really simple thing you can change. If someone has watched your entire video, that's a really valuable moment. Don't just say thanks for watching, see you next time. Give them somewhere to go. For example, if you've just made a crochet cardigan, you could say, if you'd like to see how I made the matching hat, I've made a video showing the whole process and I'll put that here. Or if you've just finished a painting, if you'd like to see how I prepared the canvas for this, I've got a video showing that process. Or for my own channel, I might say something like, if you'd like to see how I prepared the plant material I used for this, I've made a whole video about that and I'll put it here. You're essentially saying, you've enjoyed this one, here's another one you might enjoy. And that's how you start increasing the amount of time people spend watching your channel rather than just one individual video. Number 8. Make playlists that actually take people somewhere. And that brings me on to playlists. Don't just have a playlist called My Videos. Think about what somebody who watches your content might want to learn. For a crochet channel, for example, you might have crochet for beginners and blanket projects. For a sewing channel, you might have dressmaking, upcycling clothes, pottery, hand building techniques, glazing and firing, for example. And in my channel, for example, I have some wild cordage tutorials, basket tutorials, and I have recently started to add my episodes to playlists. And then arrange the videos so that they obviously make sense together. You're essentially creating a little library for your viewers. And if someone finds one video that they really enjoy, you've made it incredibly easy for them to find the next one. Number 9, and this is one of the things I love about craft content. A lot of craft videos are evergreen. If I make a video called How to Make Cordage from Nettles, that video isn't necessarily going to become irrelevant next week. Somebody could search for that tomorrow or next month or next year. And the same applies to almost every craft. A video called How to Sew a Simple Tote Bag, for example, could be useful for years. How to Make Your Own Pottery Mug could continue bringing people to your channel for a very long time. And that's a huge advantage for small craft channels. We don't necessarily need every video to explode. A video that gets a small number of views consistently for a long time can become incredibly valuable. So think about the questions people are always going to ask. How do I do this? What material should I use? How do I prepare it? What went wrong? What tools do I need? How do I fix this? Those are the sorts of videos that can continue bringing people to your channel long after you've uploaded them. Number 10, let your analytics tell you what to make next. Probably the most important thing is look at your own data. You don't need to guess what your audience wants. YouTube Studio is giving you clues. Look at the videos that have generated the most watch time. Look at which videos have the best average view duration. Look at your audience retention. Look at which videos are still getting views months after you've uploaded them. And then ask yourself, what do these videos have in common? Maybe people really like watching you actually make something. Maybe they love seeing a project from beginning to end. Maybe tutorials perform better than talking videos. Maybe your viewers love watching you test new techniques. Maybe a particular type of project consistently gets people clicking. Whatever it is, don't ignore that information. If something works, you don't necessarily need to make exactly the same video again, but you can make another video that solves a similar problem or gives people a similar experience. So finally, bringing it all together. So these are the things I'm concentrating on as I try to increase my own watch time. And I'm not standing here pretending I've cracked YouTube. I'm a small craft channel too. At the moment, I'm sitting at around 2,000 watch hours, and I've still got a long way to go before I reach 4,000. But I think that's actually the point. You don't have to be a huge channel to start thinking strategically about watch time. You don't necessarily need a viral video, and you don't need to turn your craft channel into something completely different just because you want it to grow. It can still be authentic in the way it was originally intended. Whether you make baskets, knit, crochet, sew, paint, work with clay, carve wood, make jewellery, embroider, or create something completely different, you already have the most important thing. You're making something people want to see. So think about, why would somebody click? Why would they keep watching? And once they've finished, what would make them want to watch another one of your videos? For craft channels, I think we have a really lovely advantage because people genuinely enjoy watching something being made. So instead of thinking, how can I make people watch my video for longer, maybe think, how can I make a video that people genuinely don't want to stop watching? And I think that's a much better place to start. If you're a small craft creator too, I'd love to know how you're getting on with your watch hours. And if you found something that's really worked for your channel, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear what other small craft creators are discovering. I really hope this video has helped at least one person and encouraged you not to give up after the recent updates from YouTube. If you're interested in wild basketry, slow crafts and well-being, please consider supporting my channel, and I'll see you very soon.